Hey everyone, Greg here. I am excited to tell you guys about a new feature that I've just launched into TextP2P, and I'm calling it the workflow automations. So now you can set up automation chains for your subscribers, right, where they can get a series of messages from you over a period of time, right? So the way it works is you can set up SMS text messages to go out. You can set up MMS, which is the multimedia messages, pictures, videos, messages to go out at certain intervals. And you can set up ringless voicemail messages where you can record a message and it gets dropped to their cell phone or to their home answering service without ever ringing their telephone. Isn't that awesome? So think about the applications of this. So let's say you get a new customer. You could set up one time, you could set up a series of messages that go out, like maybe they get a text message day one, 3 days later, they get a video from you. 3 days later, they get a follow-up voice, phone call, voicemail message from you. And then maybe another text message at the end, right? So you set this up over several day period. And then as you get new customers, you can just plug them into this workflow that you've set up one time, and they'll get this series of messages, okay? Now, how cool is that? Also think about how you could use this for training purposes. Let's say you have coaches or distributors under you, and every month you want to run them through a text message or some kind of training program that instead of plugging them into a Facebook group that they're going to ignore, sending them emails that they're never going to open, send them a text message every day, okay? And maybe it could include a link to a video from you where they could get more training, and you could do that for 30 days or whatever. Think about how you could potentially use this to run challenge groups for your customers, where you're giving them a message every day, maybe a reminder to check in, maybe encouragement, maybe whatever, right? You can also do this for new subscribers. So let's say you create a form. I've already done videos on how to create forms in MailChimp, and when people fill out these forms, their contact information is automatically entered into the TextP2P system. And that could automatically trigger one of these workflow automations where they get a series of messages from you. So how cool is that? So I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so here we go. So the main screen obviously is no different, but you'll notice here on the left navigation that what I used to call automations is now called autoresponders. Okay, so you can still set up autoresponders, and those are single keywords, right, where somebody can text sign up to your number and they get an automatic reply, or maybe they're added to a list, or maybe they're given a link to your mail form, your MailChimp form, whatever you want to do. So those still exist, but now you have this workflow automations menu option where you can now create workflow automations. So if I click on create automation, basically you can name your automation, my workflow automation, right? And you can save this as a template if you want to reuse it, or once you have your template set up, you can choose your existing templates, and what it'll do is it'll copy over everything that you've already set up for these template automations into this new automation. But let's say I just want to create a new one from scratch. You set the date that you want the automation to start. Okay, so maybe I want it to start in January, January 1st. Right, 9 a.m. That's when this automation will become active. Okay, it may not be when they get their first message, but it's when this automation becomes active and will start the clock. Okay, start the schedule. Now I can set it up to go to a list. or I could set it up to go to tags. If I wanted it to go to tags, I could do that, but not both. So just a list or tags, but not both, okay? So that's the way I currently have it set up. If I want to make it a template, I just click on. If not, I'm going to leave it off. So for now, this is all I'm going to do. Okay, and you can see I have a new automation here. And if I want to go in, you can see it's in a non-published state. There's my start date. If I go into my automation, you can see I have a blank screen, but pretty much no automation chain set up yet. But you can see that I can add text and I can add RVM messages. So let's say I want to add a text message. So I could say, initial welcome. Now, one thing to note is this is a sample message which you can remove or rewrite or do whatever you want. But I've implemented a new keyword called remove, and people can reply with the word remove, and they're going to be removed from your automations, right? So from any current automations where they're scheduled and they have pending messages that are scheduled to go out, they'll be removed from all of those. Okay. Now, if they want to be opted out of all messages from you in the future, they can reply stop, just like they could before on any campaign. They can reply stop and they'll never get another message from you. But if they just want to be opted out of this current campaign, this current workflow automation, just tell them to reply remove. Okay. Now, you can still set up short URLs, and the cool thing about the short URLs is maybe you want to give them a link to your product, or maybe you want to give them a link to your challenge group. If you use the URL shortener, you can actually track who clicks the link, okay? Now, the difference from the regular campaigns is you can set up, you need to set up when you want the messages to go out. So from the automation start, right, I want it to go out, let's say the first message, I want it to go out immediately, right? So I'm going to put 0 days. And I can set a time. So it doesn't have to be that 9 a.m. time, but it can be. So if I want it to go out, let's say 9:45 a.m., I just do that. I could send myself a test message if I want, but I think it's good to go as is, and I'm going to hit save, okay? Now, we created our first message, right? Now, we could certainly add messages. We can add ringless voicemail, where basically you just call this number, you enter your PIN, you record your message, you click get audio. That will get the audio file. And then again, you give it your period, let's say 1 day, or you can do hours or weeks and set the time, and you just click save. Now, I'm not going to go through recording a message and getting the message and all that right now, so I'm just going to hit cancel. So let me go back and just, but before I do, I just want to show you that the publish button has now become active. So basically you have created a campaign, okay? You have created an automation chain, just one link so far, but it's not active. Like, I set it up to go to the list of my contacts. Well, they're not going to immediately start getting messages from you. Not until you publish. So once you publish, that's when all the messages get scheduled for the entire chain, okay? Now, let's say you scheduled messages for the entire chain. If you want to come back and edit those and, maybe add a couple more messages, you can do that. You just republish again, okay? And don't worry, no one, unless you want them to, okay, let me just show you. I could click this, check this box right here that says I want to restart all the campaign. I mean, like all the messages to all the contacts again. So even if they got the first message already, I want to restart it and they're going to get it again, right? So basically it clears the slate and all contacts get all messages again. But if you don't want, let's say you modified some future messages, maybe you added a message, you don't want contacts to get the day one message that they've already received, you just leave it unchecked, okay? And you just hit publish. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Now let me show you a couple that I've already set up. You can see this new customer welcome, which is in a published status. You can see I've already made it a template as well. And if I click on this, now you can see, you know, I give them an MMS message, which is green, right? And you can see I send them a little picture and send them a welcome message. And remember, with MMS messages, with picture messages, you can type a message up to 1,600 characters. So this message, I truncate it just to keep it short on the screen, but it's a lot bigger. And I would recommend that you do your welcome message as a lengthier text where you can explain to people you know, what they're going to get, why they're getting it from you, how to opt out, that type thing, right? So your initial message should be probably bigger. Then, and remember, MMS messages are 2 credits. Same with ringless voicemail messages. Those are 2 credits. But a regular SMS message, which is only limited to 160 characters, is 1 credit. Okay, so you can see here where this message goes out immediately. The ringless voicemail message goes out after 1 day. And then the Join My Challenge group with a link that can be tracked goes out, you know, a day after the message, right? So they're getting a 3-day series of messages. Now, here is another customer welcome, and you can see, you know, I scheduled this one for February, and it goes to a different list. And basically, if you want to see here, you can see that I've chosen the new customer welcome template, and see, since it says some of the fields are now locked because this has been published. So once you publish it, you can't change the list, for example, or the dates or things like that, or you can't change the template. But up until it's published, you can change whatever you want. But you can see that if I go into another customer welcome, that it looks exactly the same as the first one that I just showed you, because it copied over all the chain, and now it can just be applied to a new list when you publish it. Okay, so that's everything. I can just show you when someone clicks remove, they will get a message back from you that says you have successfully been removed from all current campaigns. If you never wish to receive a message from this number, if you wish to never again receive messages from this number, reply unsubscribe. Can't read today, but so they'll get that back, and if they want to reply unsubscribe, they can, or they could reply stop, or any of those current stop, opt-out messages will opt them out of ever getting future messages from you. But they get this automatically. And of course, if they do unsubscribe or stop or whatever, they can always start again. They just reply start, and they'll start getting messages from you again. So that is everything. Again, let me just show you. You can go to MailChimp and you can set up, you know, really beautiful forms that collect email address, first name, last name, phone number. Obviously, you need the phone number, right? They don't go into TextP2P unless they have a phone number. And people, you know, you could add these, you know, to your post or stories or bio links or whatever you want, and have people subscribe, and then they would be, you know, automatically opted in to a series of messages, right? You can see right here is a tag automation where I'm using tags instead of a list. And, you know, if you tag any of your customers, they could be entered into this list. And you can have multiple automations set up, right? So maybe your contact is in list 1 and they get one automation, and maybe they're in, you know, list 5 and they're getting a different automation, and then you've also tagged them with boot, and they're getting another automation. So you can customize this however you want. One other thing that I can show you, which is really cool, let me click on this tag automation. Okay, so let me show you these little menus that you have where you can modify. Now, if you want to modify the message itself, you just click on the title, right? And then you can go in and you could modify the actual, text message or when you want it to go out. And when you do that, you'll have to republish, okay? But you also have this little menu here where you can insert before, insert after. You can move it up so you can change the order, right? So if I want to, move this guy up, now he's first, and this guy, right? So maybe you want to add one to the end, and then you want to move him up so that it's at the beginning or in the middle or whatever you want. Now you can, if you want to delete a message, certainly you can delete it here. You can also see the scheduled messages, right? Or the sent messages. So if I click on messages, it takes me here, and basically you can see, this campaign is published and it's been sent to all of these contacts successfully, right? Now, if you had pending messages, it would show you the pending messages as well. And you could remove them or do whatever you want. So those are some really cool features, and I hope you guys see the value in this and the possibilities that it gives you. And if you have any questions, problems, issues, let me know. And I hope you guys enjoy it.